Hey, it's the Iowa caucus going on right now, and I will not be talking about that at all. We're going to talk about pinball, and I'm going to be joined tonight by Colin McAlpine from Austin, Texas, one of the top players in the world. We're going to talk Texas Pinball Festival, a bunch of other stuff on episode 216 of Coast to Coast Pinball. Let's go. Welcome to Coast to Coast Pinball. My name is Nate Shivers. This is a podcast, a commentary. I am a man out of quarters, joined tonight, a very special guest, Mr. Colin McAlpine, who is one of the top 100 players in the world. He is the assistant director of the Texas Wizards tournament at the Texas Pinball Festival and a bunch of other good stuff. Good dude, knowledgeable guy, really smart guy. You'll hear it, you'll know. And we're really excited. I'm excited to be a part of the Texas Pinball Festival in that Josh Sharp and I, sometimes on the show, Josh Sharp, and I kind of helped push for a new direction in the tournament, which they have run with, and I'm going to be part of the, quote, broadcasting team of the finals at the Texas Pinball Festival. And I look forward to it. I'm going to be doing an interview with George Gomez at the Texas Pinball Festival. So Texas Pinball Festival is going to be great. They're using the new they're using new software for the tournament. They're using Carl D'Angelo's very well-renowned software for the tournament. They're doing the finals of the tournament at the Texas Pinball Festival on Saturday night instead of Sunday when everyone's like leaving or gone. So it's going to be Saturday night, prime time, finals of a tournament. I think that's going to be awesome. Colin's going to be helping running the show. Ed's got a great show with his team. Texas Pinball Festival, it's late, sorry. I'm doing this after the fact. Is going to be really exciting. There's a lot going on with State Championship Series. We're headed towards Papa. Tons going on. So without further ado, let's welcome Colin McAlpine onto the show.
Call the people.
I would like to welcome to Coast to Coast Pinball tonight, Mr. Colin McAlpine. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Nate. Thanks.
Good. I almost butchered your last name. I got it all in my head that I didn't know how to say it, but I do indeed sort of have it right, I believe.
You nailed it.
Good. How's it going out there? How's Texas tonight?
It's great. It's been a lovely weekend, and the start of the week it felt like spring weather. We got up into the 80s. So
oh my gosh.
crazy spring-like awesome weather to end January.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's good stuff. So you're based out of Austin, Texas. Great city, fantastic place.
It is.
That's a city near and dear to my heart. And pinball is alive and well in Austin, so we want to talk about that tonight. We want to talk about the Texas Pinball Festival, which Colin will be the tournament director for the Texas Wizards Tournament Festival. That's good stuff, and we're gonna get into some strategy on some games. So it's gonna be a multi-layered, multi-point conversation with you tonight, Colin.
Sounds great.
All right. So what I want to do is first give a little backstory, because you're one of the guys who I've seen you play. You and I've played together. I think we played together in the consolation tournament at Pinburg last year.
We did on Paragon.
On Paragon, that dude that we didn't know smoked us on Paragon.
He did. That was an amazing way to play Paragon and survive.
It just he just kept hitting like the same shot over and over and over, right?
He never trapped up once.
No, it was crazy. So, but I got to see you play, and you're a great player. You're currently where you're currently ranked. I can't keep up with everybody.
Right now at 58.
58th. That's a good spot to be. So, what I want to do is kind of, you're like my age, right? Late 30s.
I just cracked the big 4-0 this year.
Oh, congratulations, sir.
Yeah.
Life gets good now, from what I'm told.
Absolutely. It just gets better from here on out.
So were you like me? Were you playing pinball when you were younger, or did you come into it later?
When I was younger, yeah. We had some arcades around the neighborhood where I was growing up, and family liked to eat pizza, and we had a couple pizza joints that had an arcade attached to it. And started out playing video games, and then quickly gravitated to pinball because I saw a guy playing, and he kept pressing the start button without putting more quarters in. And I asked him how that worked, and he explained it, and I thought that was pretty cool. And started playing pinball, and then ended up loving the game, in addition to the fact that you can win replays.
Was that in Texas?
That was in Minnesota.
Minnesota, okay, excellent. What were those early games you were playing?
So some of the earliest I remember playing were Comet and and Bonsai Run, F-14, Tomcat.
Oh, yeah.
And moved on, and also High Speed and Whirlwind were some of the ones that I played a lot growing up.
Did you have a game from back then that you played when you were younger, so that when you started then buying games for your home use that you had to go get based on just memories?
No, it really hasn't turned out that way, and maybe that's just because I'm spoiled in Austin, where we have over 200 pins on location, that I can go and get my fix on a couple of those pins from my childhood in somebody else's place, and not have to buy myself.
Yeah, that's very true. When did you first realize you could buy a game and take it home?
Oh man, I mean, I guess I realized you could own one when I was a kid, because we had some friends. Her dad was a lawyer, and so we were always going to their house for parties, and they had the big house and the pool, and they had a pinball. They had a Miami, a Hollywood Heat. Downstairs in the basement, and so that was the first experience of seeing a pinball machine in somebody's house. But I really didn't even think about owning one, just didn't have the space, or wasn't willing to put up the money for it, and didn't actually start buying until I got back into pinball relatively recently.
How do you get up to the ranking of 58? Where does that start? Like, where did your tournament career sort of begin, and how did you get to where you are now? Because you've had some pretty big finishes in the last couple of years.
Well, I wish I would have known about the competitive pinball scene a long time ago, but unfortunately for me, I didn't find out about until about 2011 at a Tron launch party. So those launch parties do work. They work. They draw new people into pinball or into competitive pinball, because even growing up, playing all through the way through college, but then not playing much after that, I was played in it, and I won the tournament, which was cool. And then the organizer told me, "Oh, yeah, now you're going to be ranked." Ranked in what? Oh, there's this thing called the IFPA. Oh, fascinating. Oh, there's other tournaments I can go play in. Wow, cool.
So that was 2011, which is, to a lot of people, I think, sort of the moment in time where pinball started coming back for real, like really coming back. Where was that tournament held? Where was that launch party held?
That was at Pinball's Arcade here in Austin. So it had just opened up a few months before that in 2010, and Pinball's Arcade is now one of the largest public arcades in terms of the number of pinball machines they have on location.
Yeah, I asked that specifically because I wondered if Pinballs was the place, if it was open yet, because that's becoming very nationally renowned as one of the top places to go and play. And there's multiple locations now, correct?
There are, yeah. The guy who owns that, he opened another one in south of Austin in a town called Buda, and that's called Pinball's Kingdom. And they just announced and are tearing out a what used to be a retail store in the northwest suburbs of Austin. They're going to open a third location.
Wow, that's awesome. That makes Austin even better than it was. I own a house in Austin. Teresa and I have a house down near Buda, actually, off Manchac.
Oh, you still own one? Okay.
We do, yeah. We use it as a rental now that we have renters in it. But it's like great excuse for me to go see those places. I got to go check on the house, or something.
Perfect. Yeah. Let me know next time you need to check on the house.
I need to do that.
On some pins.
For real. Well, that's awesome. What's the scene like around Austin now? I know that when I was at the Texas Pinball Festival last year, I saw multiple shirts or jackets even of the Bat City Pinball League, and I know that the Bat City's Austin. So what are the league situations like? Is there a lot of people playing on location?
Yeah, there's a fair amount. I mean, we don't have like the Portland or the Seattle scene going yet, but we've got a few leagues that run in town weekly. One at Pinballs. We have another one that runs on Sundays at Buffalo Billiards. And just with my schedule, that's the one I'm able to play in weekly with my sons.
That's on 6th Street.
And yeah, right there on
the heart of all of it. Yeah.
Yep. It's a great place, and the guy who's one of the managers there got bitten by the pinball bug, and so he maintains and operates those pins. I think for a guy who owns them out of Dallas, but great place. Over a dozen pins. They're in right there, just a few blocks away from the Capitol.
Yeah, that's cool. I used to play pool there when I was playing in bands in Austin. They did not have pinball back in those days. I remember that. That's cool.
They did not. Or even when they did, they used to have maybe 2 pins in a pretty bad state of disrepair. But now that somebody's there that cares about them, they're in good shape.
Yeah, well, that's cool. Just the fact that, like you said earlier, there's over 200 games on location in Austin. Austin's like a big city, but it's not L.A. or New York.
Correct.
Probably San Diego size, actually, and we certainly don't have 200 and something games here. That's awesome. Well, I'm super jealous. What's this year been like? Or actually, what's last year going into this year been like as we sort of head towards the state championship series? I know you're qualified to play in Texas. What was your year like? I know you had major showings at the Texas Pinball Festival and some other good finishes. What was the year like for you between the big events and then the local events?
It was great. I mean, yeah, TPF is definitely a big deal in Texas, and something I love to go to every year. I've been, let's see, I think my first one was in 2012 because that's how I found out about TPF was after I found out about competitive pinball, and so yeah, TPF was good to me this past year. They we're doing things a little bit differently this coming year, but last year there were 5 tournaments that ran at TPF, and it was crazy, as you well know.
It was.
You were there.
Yeah.
And the sheer number of pins that occupied a lot of real estate at the show, but it was still fun. I mean, every even when it's a crazy tournament, to me it's still always fun to play pinball, and I did well in those. So I took first in a couple of those, and then placed high in the other ones. So that was a big reason as far as why I was doing well last year. And the local leagues and stuff like that, I've done all right and played well in those, and didn't do as well in Pinburg as I would have liked to, but still had a blast. It's a fantastic event.
Who's the best player in Austin? Come on. You can say it.
Well, I do happen to be the highest ranked, but there's a couple of us here in Austin that when we get together, it's pretty even.
Who would you least like to hear you say that you're the best player in Austin?
Who would I least like?
Yeah, who would you cringe if they knew that I was trying to insinuate that? Well, who's the second best player, I guess is what I'm asking.
I don't know. I mean, you've got John Drew and Garrett Hayes, Robert Byers. I mean, all those guys are great players here in Austin.
Fantastic. I know. I'm putting you on the spot. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But I do see the Bat City Pinball League event league, Colin #1, finished up in August. So I don't know. It's kind of like the mic drop moment there, I think. Did you get to Papa last year? Yeah, you did, didn't you? Or the year before, maybe?
The couple of years before that, yes, I've been to Papa. I didn't make it this past year because it was right around the same time as TPF, or something else was going on. I forget. Maybe it was spring break this past year. But when it moved to March or moved to the springtime, it didn't work for me. But yeah, but prior to that, I went to Papa for 3 years in a row.
And I know you finished like really high that last one, and that was in the A division, or like 22nd, something like that.
I did. I was the bubble boy that year that I squeaked in to the finals. And Papa's actually, everybody, a lot of people complain, or they not complain, but they lament that the Papa qualifying format is brutal.
It's brutal.
It is. It is brutal. It is brutal because you think you're riding high after 2 games, and then you tank the next 3. But I have had the good fortune of the Papas I've played in. I have qualified for finals in every time I've been these 3 years, twice in B division and once in A. But sadly, the brutality began for me in the first round of finals each year, and getting knocked out in the first round of each one of those.
So I have not even come close. And I'm not sitting here saying I'm a great player or anything, but I like to think if given enough time and enough energy, I can get pretty close. And I find myself near cut lines often. What's your strategy going into Papa? with the system in place where you can't just pump and dump at Papa. You have to put up 5 quality games on a ticket, or whatever the number happens to be that year, but you have to put up a full ticket of good to great scores to qualify. How do you go about doing that yourself?
So I'm a bit different. I know there are others that will actually play every single pin in the bank once just to get a feel for them. I'm of a different mindset where I would rather just focus my time on the pins that I know the best and am most familiar and comfortable with. So I will typically focus on 5 and maybe switch out. I'd say probably 2, maybe 3 at most that I might switch out and try to incorporate some different pins if I just find myself not playing well on ones that I thought I would do okay on.
If you put up a good score on your first game of a ticket, do you get right in line to play a second game, or do you walk around and take a break?
I typically get right back in line.
Okay. I'm just curious, because I do too, and I see some guys will play one game and just leave and come back, and I'm too impatient, I think, for that. That's interesting. Do you study up on the games ahead of time?
I do. I definitely love the element of pinball, of knowing the rules and trying to figure out the strategies, and has been well served by all the many people who have put out rule sheets and videos and tutorials. And then just learning them on your own as well. It's part of the fun for me.
Yeah, definitely. What about the classics side? Do you like playing the classics at Papa?
I do now. I do. I originally was. I dreaded them. I thought I was. I think I was even scared to play in the classics because they were so foreign to me. I didn't really have any classics to play growing up, and then unfortunately, pinballs, because when it started up in Austin, only has a limited number of classic pins, and so it took a while to get used to them and to understand them, and also as growing as a player. Like, for instance, when I first started playing in 2011 competitively, I really didn't do a whole lot of nudging. That was never part of the equation for me. Didn't know that was something you were supposed to be doing. So it took a long time to get used to nudging and watching other really good players nudge to know, and that's even more critical in my opinion in classic pins than in modern ones.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people tell me that once they started really playing classic games well, it made their modern game a lot better, because they're, so a lot of people I think of a nudge and think, oh, I have to slam the machine left, right, or forward, when in reality some of those really gentle nudges you learn on a tight tilted EM game can translate very well to a game with really bouncy rubbers in the modern.
Correct. And the other thing that I think that the classics teach you is that there's a lot more nudging that needs to be done in the upper play field as opposed to just around the tops of the slings and flippers.
Hold on, I need to make a note of that right now. Hang on, nudge in the upper play field. For real, that's a great point, because as soon as I start thinking of nudges, I'm thinking of outlanes. But you're absolutely right. There's games where you can really make life easier for yourself by completing rollovers and upping your bonuses and stuff by paying attention in modern games up top. That's exactly right. All right, so let's fast forward to... Well, let's look at... Okay, so Texas Pinball Festival last year, you mentioned it had the 5 tournaments. For being what I consider the gold standard of sort of the collector-driven pinball show, where people are bringing in their own games and they're going to an off-site location and they're building a pinball show for the weekend. It's the gold standard. I've been to most of them now.
I agree.
It's the best. So for being that, the tournament has had its ups and downs and had a rough run of it. And I'm trying to be as gentle as I can about it, but people weren't satisfied, I think, with the experience on a lot of levels, and I was critical of it. And Ed reached out to me, Ed Vanderveen, great guy, one of the directors of Texas Pinball Festival, reached out to me, reached out to Josh, and kind of just said, what would you do? Quit complaining, tell us what you would do. And through some sort of committee came the idea of a limited Herb-style tournament where you buy in, you have a set amount of entries, you can use them as you please to try and qualify, and that's it. You can't keep buying entries. There's one bank of games. It spans all eras, which I think is great. It really is going to find a truly well-rounded pinball player as a champion. You're now the tournament director for this event. How did that happen? How did you get involved there? And what are your thoughts on the format shift and how that should play out this year?
So one, just slight correction to that. Officially, I'm the assistant tournament director.
Oh, sorry. You're the assistant tournament director.
But how I got involved, Ed reached out to me. So first off, I've volunteered and helped out at the tournament now for the past couple of years, and one of the guys who's helped run it in the past and is a friend of mine, is a great guy, and does some really incredible things for pinball. So. I'd talked to Ed in the past about the tournament and had offered suggestions, and so he reached out to me in the middle of last year and asked if I wanted to help run the tournament, and I said absolutely. I think I'd love to do that, and I'm passionate about it. But I think it's like you. I think it's an incredible show. And has a world-class reputation of being an incredible show, and I, along with others, want to have the attorney that's associated with the TPF have that same world-class reputation that the show does.
Absolutely. Okay, so I have my ducks in a row, and I'm not miscrediting. Who's the official tournament director on paper, then?
So a gentleman named Ken Kemp, he's been involved with that group of folks that form the Texas Pinball LLC that runs the whole Texas Pinball Festival.
Absolutely. Okay. Are you going to play in the tournament yourself as a co-director?
I definitely intend to play. Yes, I'm in agreement with Josh on that one. That even at big events, or at least pseudo big events. We're not as big as the Pinburg and Papa, but I'm definitely I've directed tournaments in the Austin area for quite some time now and always participated in those. So I intend to do the same at TPF.
I think this format really makes that kind of a no-brainer too. There's going to be at some point a fine time for you to get your entries in and qualify.
Definitely. Yeah, that's one of the things that that was additional feedback we got from some players because we had so many tournaments last year and they were all unlimited play. There were a lot of people that said, man, I spent all this time in the tournament and, enjoyed playing the tournament, but would have enjoyed a little bit more time to explore the show floor. And so that was, I think, part of the other reason why when you reached out, or Ed reached out to you and Josh, maybe why you came up with the limited format.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really good kind of like reset for the tournament, if nothing else. Simplified down, one bank of games. I forget the numbers. At 30 entries, something to that effect?
Yes.
Yeah, so 30 entries that you can use throughout the qualifying period. And there's going to be a lot of strategy people who are used to sort of an unlimited, pump and dump style.
Correct.
You need to really make your entries count here and figure out what you're doing pretty early on so that you don't wind up with one entry left and, needing 2 good scores or some bad position like that.
Yes.
Do we know any of the games yet?
We do. So we have a short list for each of the different eras. As you mentioned, it spans the eras. So we're gonna have 4 DMD or modern pins, and we're gonna have 4 solid states and 4 EMs. And in Texas Pinball Festival, typically on the moderns over the past few years, has always tried to incorporate one of the newer pins, usually one of the newer Sterns, as featured in the tournament bank, which has had mixed results because in the past, some Stern pins have not been as well developed in their infancy as others. Thankfully, we're in a position right now that Game of Thrones is really well done from a code standpoint out of the gate. So we intend to use Game of Thrones as one of the pins for the DMD era.
Excellent.
And we'll definitely be setting that up difficult so we don't have too many marathon games on it. And speaking of difficult, in the solid state bank, we will be playing some Frontier.
Oh, I know a certain player in Portland who's going to like that, Noah Davis.
Nice. Is he coming to TBF?
I don't know. but he'll be happy. I don't know that he is. I kind of doubt he is, but he'll really be happy that a high-level tournament's using Frontier.
Yeah, so I'm excited to use that. That's a great early solid-state game. And then for one of the EMs, we are going to use a very well regarded EM of Fireball.
Fireball, excellent. That's a good one. Classic, all-time great. Good. So we've got that. What's that math with Nate here? That's a quarter of the games. Do we now?
It is. And there's a few other. We're kind of holding back. I might start doling that out on one of the forums out there as we get closer. I think we've probably got about three of each fairly well decided, with likely the fourth on each. We'll figure it out pretty quickly.
Yeah, I was going to say, I guess that's the one, if somebody wanted to poke holes in the whole, it's no big deal that people who are running it or playing in it, you guys will know the games first. That is the one I could see somebody saying something about.
True, but yeah, we'll have them announced.
You'll forget all the rules. Don't worry about it. Colin will not remember the rules. I promise. So, what was decided as far as other tournaments at the show? I know there had been some different ideas on that. What did that end up looking like?
So yeah, we're going to keep it. We're going to keep it fairly simple this year. We're going to, as far as the open tournaments, we are going to keep it just to one. And I know there's a lot of other shows out there that do a main or in the classics, and we may do that next year in the future. But for now, we're going to stick with having a novice finals, which is going to be similar to other events where it's based off the open qualifying. For those ranked outside of IFPA ranking, I think we're using 500.
Oh, I like
as
that.
the cutoff for that.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a women's finals as well. That will also be based off the open qualifying. And then we'll have two separate events. One, a kids tournament for those under. It's either under or maybe they can be 14. I think it's somewhere around there. It's in the rules. And then last, we'll have a team tournament for parents and kids. So a parent can play with one of their kids and enter in a tournament and get a little competitive pinball experience that way.
Excellent. Yeah, I think that sort of underlies the one of the things about the Texas Pinball Festival. It's really a fantastic family event, and you do see a lot of dads and moms bringing the kids into the show.
Definitely.
And growing the hobby. And what's nice about the show, it's in such a big venue with high ceilings. It never feels super crowded and claustrophobic.
It doesn't. It's not just a big venue, but also my wife was a bit concerned the first year we went to one of the TPFs, and as far as just when you get your mama bear who's worried about her young kids and her young cubs running around, but the venue there is fantastic, and it's a very safe feel, and I have no problem with bringing my family. I've been taking all three of my kids and my wife there since my youngest was 4 years old.
Oh, that's fantastic. How many people are registered for the main tournament now? I know you guys are keeping a running log on that.
We just now passed the 100 mark, so we have over 100 people now that are registered and paid to play in the TPF Wizards tournament.
There's a cap on the amount of entries, correct?
There is. It's limited to 200.
200. So you're over halfway.
We're halfway there. If history is any indication, we may not get to 200, but that could surprise us, and then suddenly somebody be out of luck, as many people have experienced with Pinburg and 700. But
yeah.
We're excited about where we're at, and I think regardless of whether we have 100 or whether we have 200, it's going to be a fantastic time.
I'm going to predict it gets close. I don't know if it'll be all 200 or not, but I think that the changes have been well received. I've had feedback from when we talked about it with Josh. I think that the show is going to be bigger than ever this year just because of the buzz and the growth that all shows seem to be seeing. I think that when people show up and they say, oh, the tournament, how do I play the tournament? And it's real simple. You pay $60 and you get 30 plays. I think a lot of people are going to see that's a great value. It's $2 a game, and they're going to go for it.
I think so too, and I hope so. I think the more the merrier, and yeah, if we can get to that level, and for anybody that's sitting on the fence out there, I think they should. I mean, even if you just play in the tournament, if it's your first time playing and you're worried about it, it's very approachable, and you have the unbelievable side benefit of having one of the best, if not the best, collector show in the country.
It really is. It's kind of amazing how many games. I mean, it's well over 300, 400 games at TPF.
Correct. Yeah, it's historically been in the 300 to 400 range of pins and arcades, but I think somewhere around 300 pins. It's unbelievable. And the other thing that's amazing to me, and I haven't been to as many shows as you have, but the feedback I get from people who have been to a lot of other shows is that TPF has, sets the bar in terms of the quality of the pins, and as far as being playable and being working. They have specific rules in place that if you buy and sell pins, that the pins still have to stay on the floor for the show, so you don't have to worry about a bunch of pins getting sold and then disappearing from the floor halfway through. So it's an amazing event, and with just a ridiculous amount of space. The ballroom is massive.
It is, and that is a great point. The games do tend to be in fantastic shape there. And in fact, I just had an email recently from somebody who went to another show, not to be named, and their only other show had been Texas, and they were sort of shocked that it was a lot smaller, the games weren't in as good a shape, and exactly what you just said. Games disappearing after day one that are for sale, and I don't know. I guess I understand that, but I wouldn't. It's tough when you're charging people a pretty hefty entry fee to any pinball show anywhere, and the games start disappearing. That's kind of a bummer. So I'm excited. It's definitely like the can't miss show for me every year, and I think this tournament's going to be really, really fun and exciting, and hopefully the 30 entrants. It cuts down a little bit on the guys who can just throw money at it all day long, but it's still enough that the best players should have every shot to prove themselves, as it may be.
They should, but if limited entry formats are any indication, there's been other ones where you have a lot more people who maybe aren't the top ranked players but are really good players who just don't they don't play in as many tournaments. And they typically you'll have a few more surprises in a limited entry format. So I think it helps to level the playing field a bit and gives people a chance who may not be your typical tournament circuit players.
Love it. Jack Danger from Dead Flip and myself are going to be, quote, broadcasting the finals if I'm not playing it. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so we're going to do the live stream broadcast. It'll be a lot of fun. Jack's great at that sort of stuff. And so I'll be studying up my rules after I know what the games are so I can know what I'm talking about with all these games and hopefully not mispronounce everybody's names. Let's shift to the state championship series. That's a big event, I think, that's starting to happen now, as we have this Saturday where the states are all playing for the champions of the states to be crowned. You're playing for Texas. Where is the state championship series this year, and what was your seeding there in Texas?
So this year it's being held in Houston. We've made the choice, or actually Marcus, who helps to organize it for the IFPA here in Texas.
Great guy, Marcus.
He is, and we rotate it between Austin, Dallas, and Houston, so that way it's not just in one location. And thankfully, for the most part, the typical the high level tournament players in the state of Texas travel pretty regularly, so nobody's really had any complaints about having the location move around.
Yeah, Dallas to Houston's that's a trek.
Yeah, depending on what area of Dallas you're at. There's one, Ken, who's the tournament director at TPF, he lives well north of Dallas, so I think he'll be making probably close to a 5-hour drive.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Now, we had the Bob Matthews watch in effect this year.
We did.
we were all wondering, where's Bob going to play? Bob's a great guy. And he was, I think he had, 3 states he could play in? Something like that?
Yeah, I don't recall. It's not as many as previous years.
And he chose Texas.
He did.
What do you think about that?
It's great. I mean, I welcome the competition, and he's a good guy. He's a regular player at TPF, and he is also a regular player even at the Houston Arcade Expo, which would be the second biggest show in Texas. And so I believe he has family in the area. So when he comes to play, he also takes the time to visit family. So I think that's part of the draw for him here in Texas, in addition to the good shows we have here. But it'll be a fun show. We got another guy also traveling from New York, so we got a couple people traveling from a distance.
I didn't let you answer the question I asked earlier. I asked you where you were ranked in Texas. I think you were number 1 this year, weren't you?
I am. I've enjoyed being the number. This is my third year going into being number 1. I haven't parlayed that into actually winning the thing, but hopefully the third time will be the charm.
Bob Matthews, number 2 in Texas.
Yes, he is because of TPF, really.
Yeah, and you know what? It's going to be an interesting one to watch. Are you guys streaming that one?
I don't know. I don't believe so. But we'll see. The guys in Houston, Phil, Grimaldi, and Matt, and those guys, as far as some of their setups, they might. Who knows? They might pull something off.
That's fantastic. That's going to be a fun one. That's kind of becoming an exciting day. It's kind of like March Madness in a way, because there's all these different tournaments going on with great players that have. This is a real deal to win that thing.
Definitely, yeah. The only downside for those of us in Texas or planning on go to TPF is if you happen to win your state SCS, it's taking place the same weekend as TPF.
That's right. That's right. So what? Okay, well, so you can't go if you win. You're not going to go play in nationals, are you?
Correct. Yeah, I've already made up my mind. Even if I weren't helping out with helping run the tournament, I would choose TPF. I chose TPF a couple years ago over Pinburg.
Wow. Yeah.
Because it's my family. It's the one time a year that I can take my whole family to a pinball event and play pinball together. So I'm not going to miss that.
No, I understand completely. Okay, so we were talking about this before we came on the air. The IFP World Championship is taking place this year in conjunction with Papa. So you're going to have this crazy week-long multi-tournament situation in Pittsburgh. You just missed the cut for the World Championship. Tell me how that played out.
Yeah, I just found that out today. I kind of saw the writing on the wall for that, but I ended up, I believe, 3 players below the cut line. And, I just chalked that up to, the incredible players out there and their desire to play in not 1 but 2 world championships. So besides the folks here in the U.S. that can go and travel to Pittsburgh, you've got a lot of people coming from overseas, which is fantastic. It's going to make for an incredible not just IFPA World Championships, but the Papa World Championships. Particularly the A division is going to be insane.
Yeah, and now you're stuck in the A division, aren't you?
I am, but glad to be there. It'll be fun to compete with all those guys and women.
Absolutely, that's going to be fun to watch. I won't be there for the World Championships, but I'll definitely be there for Papa. Let's talk a little bit about the topic I brought up last episode, on episode 215 of the show, Josh Sharp's Super Selfie League, as I've dubbed it. And it was brought up to my attention by multiple people around the country that's not the only Super Selfie League. There's others happening out there. And you also said that there's something similar going on in Texas, or there will be?
Not yet. Yeah, I think there will be. I was not a proponent of the Super League concept based on its original inception in New York. But after, I even joke with Josh when
How did you do in that New York Super League, Colin?
How did I what?
How did you do in that Super League?
I never played in it.
How do you know? I'm just kidding. I'm I'm kidding because I love those guys. I'm just totally joking.
No, and it's great. I'm happy that Super League is hopefully introducing more people to pinball, and that's, to me, I prefer that over any, rankings and Whopper point stuff. But anyway, I joked with Josh when he announced that he was going to run something similar. I joked with him he was drinking the Kool-Aid. But the way he's implemented it, and I didn't realize there was more than just Chicago's, but the way he's implemented Chicago, I think is really well done and clever, and so we're thinking of trying to start one of those up here in Austin.
All right, so I don't get the evil, mean, early morning Chicago time text message from Josh. I will say his implementation with the selfies on Facebook and having a Facebook group and all the different selfies with the commentary, that's pretty clever and pretty good. That is where he's done it differently, and I think that's going to be one of the things, that social aspect of it, that people are really going to enjoy. It's so simple, but it's like, that's the world we live in. It's the Instagram world.
Yeah, it's a great merger of the world we live in pinball.
Yeah, I think it's really cool, and I think it's something that you said this to me. If these venues start seeing this take off, it's going to be great, because it's really, out of all the league concepts that I've seen, this is going to be the one that can truly drive that coin box every month, because you're going to have people coming at all hours, quiet hours.
Exactly.
Yeah, lunchtime stop-ins, trying to up your score on any given game. I think it's a fantastic idea.
Yep.
All right, let's also... Okay, so you brought this up, and I think it's a fantastic idea. We do the Bones cheat sheet. I can't even say it. Cheat sheet segments here on the show. But we're going to be of the moment with Colin, doing Colin's cheat sheet tonight. We're going to talk Game of Thrones a little bit, because it's the latest, greatest Stern game that's out. They're starting to ship even more. The premiums are rolling out. There's Game of Thrones on location in all the major metropolitan areas now that I've seen. They've got them here. I don't know if everybody understands what's going on with these games yet. This game did ship with pretty complete code. I shouldn't say complete, but pretty fleshed out code. And I've had a friend of mine here locally went and played it, and he said to me, just some ramps. Like, he really didn't think the Pro was that interesting. And I said, no, man, it's about the rules. And he goes, okay, great, tell me about the rules. And I was kind of stumped. I'm like, because I sort of get it, but maybe not as well as I'm going to need to come to the Texas Pinball Festival and score well. So I'd love to hear your rundown and your strategy, both really basic level and then maybe a more intermediate run on playing Game of Thrones as it currently sits.
Sure. So really basic level Game of Thrones is just the general concept of you get to choose which house you want to play, and each of those houses has a benefit to it. Thankfully, this is one of the first times in a long time, maybe ever, that I've known Stern to release a really fleshed out rules and some strategy hints when they released the game, which was great. And so you can read more about those as far as each, and I'm not going to go through each individual house, but when you walk up to the machine, don't just randomly fire the ball off.
Tell me who to choose. Who do I choose?
So that's a great question. So do you want who to choose if you're playing in a match play setting or if you're going for a high score?
Oh, man. Okay, so I want both, because I play match play locally, but when I come to Texas, I'm going to need to put up a good score. So I need answers to both.
Okay, so if you're playing to go for a high score, in my opinion, you want to choose Greyjoy.
Okay.
And the reason why is because after every house that you battle with Greyjoy, you can steal that house's benefit, similar to the books as far as paying the iron price, for those of you familiar with the books out there, with Greyjoy going and taking those benefits from other houses.
Very interesting. And if I'm playing in a match play situation?
This is a tough one, and it can depend on how you want to play the game, but I would argue at this point it's a toss-up, but I would probably lean towards playing Tyrell, which is the green colored house. And the reason why is because you get the in-lane combo multiplier benefit, which is huge and applies to every single ball that you play while you're playing all the time. The other one a lot of people have been going with is they go with Martel because they like having an add ball for multi-ball.
Yep.
But that only helps you in a multi-ball.
Yep, and you may not get to a multi-ball if you have a house ball. And
you may not get to a multi-ball, and you can only use it once per ball. That little in-lane multiplier you can use every time the ball is going through an in-lane.
That's interesting. I'm playing that game tomorrow night in a local tournament night. I'm Going to credit you if I win. If I lose, it's all your fault too, though.
Perfect.
Okay, so a little more, stretch that out a little bit for me now. So when you step up at Texas and you're trying to put up a high score, walk me through kind of like what your idea is as far as you're choosing your house, and then are you trying to start battles quickly, get to multi-ball? What's your route to success there?
So if you're playing, for instance, the Greyjoy strategy, it's I think one of the more recent code updates took the advantage down a little bit, but I still think it is worthwhile to play Greyjoy and go for wall multi-ball. And
okay.
if you can stack it right, if you can set it up right, you can claim the benefit from Tyrell, and you can claim the benefit from Martell. And there's one more of Baratheon that also helps you in wall multi-ball. So if you can sequence it correctly and get those three benefits and then start wall multi-ball, you can crush wall multi-ball. In fact, I was able to do that at the recent Game of Thrones launch party and come back from only having 300 million going into ball 3 and let 4 balls drain in wall multi-ball with over 2 billion.
Wow. What is a good score for you? What do you want to put up that makes you feel comfortable on that game where you're like, okay, that's good?
Well, that depends who I'm playing, right?
Yeah, granted. Open qualifying, you don't know who you're playing.
I would probably want to have a score, definitely north of. Well, if it's unlimited qualifying, I probably want to have a score in the 3 to 5 billion range these days.
Wow.
There's too many in the wall multi-ball, and also the Hand of the King multi-ball. They've all got some decent scoring in them. So it's a very high scoring game.
Should I ever be shooting on purpose at the battering ram?
Yes.
Okay, from which flipper, how do I do it? Because when I try, I seem to drain very quickly.
Yeah, and I compliment Steve Ritchie on the design there because it's got a good risk-reward associated with it. Now, I will say this as well, as many can attest to, that depending upon the Game of Thrones actual physical pin you're playing, the battering ram will not always register consistently. So keep that in mind too. But the time where I'm usually going for the battering ram is if I'm in the ball save period of a multi-ball, because I'm trying to get the playfield multiplier up before I start trying to cash in some of the jackpots and super jackpots. Interesting.
Anything else we should add to that people are going to need to go to war with?
I would say there's one key element here. So we talked about the wall multi-ball, and that keep in mind that there's a difference. In the Pro, you qualify that with the upper lanes, whereas with the LE, you have to qualify it with the shot to the kicker of death.
The kicker of death?
Yes, the dragon shot.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Upper playfield on the premium and limited edition. Talk to me about that. I haven't had a lot of time on those versions.
So I haven't had as much time on them, but from what I gather, there's not as much up there yet that there really probably should be. The one thing I have noticed is that if you're in a house battle mode, if you go to the upper playfield, it seems like you can, if you hit the targets, not the little lanes between the targets that take the ball back down to the main playfield, but if you hit those targets when they're lit up the same color as the mode color shots, that you can, I think it seems like you can get freebies of the mode shots while you're up there in the safety of that upper playfield.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So your thoughts in general on Game of Thrones as a game? Do you like it?
I love it for match play settings. I think if I had it in my, house, it's not quite as deep as I'd like a modern pin to be. But in terms of your situational match play setting, it's I wouldn't say unparalleled. There are other ones out there that have some similar choice and strategy and scoring risk reward. AC/DC comes to mind, but I think it's up there in that level of match play, situational play rule sets.
what are some of your just like favorite games? Like, what are the games that you just really love to play?
So I have a Lord of the Rings, and I love to play that game. But unfortunately, I can't play that with any guests when they come over because I take too long on.
Sure,
it's a deep game and it's a long game, but that's a favorite theme of mine, so that's why I have it. I've really gotten into, ever since Pinburg and playing in Papa Classics, I've really gotten into more of the classic pins. I like the something about that aesthetic and physical joy of ripping a spinner for all it's worth.
I totally agree. Agree.
So I have a Meteor.
Oh, there you go. Stern.
So you can set that spinner up and rip that, and I have a Grand Prix EM that you can hit spinners from either flipper.
That's one of my favorites. Somebody else was just talking about the game. I don't know if that was on the show or not, but that's a good one too. Do you like World Cup Soccer, the old one? Or is it just called World Cup?
The old one? You mean the one with those funky kickers?
Yeah,
and
it's like Grand Prix, but like Bizarro World Grand Prix.
Yeah, the only reason I didn't like that one was the different saucers there, and I think the middle playfield saucers would sometimes just kick it, and you could catch it and have it go into the slingshot saucers and rinse and repeat, and that was kind of boring.
Yeah, I see that. Very cool. Well, awesome. Well, Colin, I'm really looking forward to the Texas Pinball Festival. I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes, hanging out with you, looking over your shoulder as you put up $5 billion on Game of Thrones, so I can figure out how to do that. That's going to be a key part of the weekend for me. And man, I really appreciate you spending some time on the show tonight. It's been a lot of fun, and I don't know, maybe we'll get to do some more stuff. Maybe we'll get to do a little more strategy down the road. We got ideas.
That would be fun. It's been a pleasure, Nate.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much. I'll talk to you real soon.
All right. Thanks, Nate.
I don't know. I'm feeling like that's the kickoff to like the real good season of competitive pinball. I mean, granted, it's always competitive pinball season somewhere, but I feel like there's just this run coming up that's going to be really good with Papa, with the World Championships, State Championships, Texas Pinball Festival, all the way through to Pinburg in the summertime. Really excited. Thanks a lot for Colin coming on the show. Had a blast. That's episode number 216 of Coast to Coast Pinball. Appreciate you listening. And until next time, I have three things I'd like to suggest. I'd like to suggest, first of all, that you guys take care of yourselves. It's important, you only got one of you. Take care of that you. I'd also like to suggest that you be nice to each other. Because why not? Why not be nice to one another? Better than the alternatives, I think. And then also I'd suggest that you play more pinball. Right? All right. That's all.